Hey everyone, it's Cory McCarthy and welcome to a new episode. I promised in my previous full keto day of eating video that I would also be doing a video documenting a weekly carb refeed day.
And if you haven't seen my previous video, do yourself a favor, at least for context purposes, and check it out.
I will link it in the description below for your convenience. But before I kick off with the day of eating, I thought I'd address some of the argumentative comments from my last video and school some people.
Michael G. writes, "You do realize that fat stores into adipose tissue easier than any other macronutrient, right?"
That is an overgeneralized statement. While fat is higher in calories per gram than carbs or protein, fat will not inherently make you fat. The fat you eat is not inherently the fat you wear. In fact,
in a study exploring the effects of a vegan ketogenic diet on 47 men and women, it was found that not only did they lose fat despite their high fat intake, but they also improved heart disease risk factors, something not witnessed in the comparison animal-based diet.
So instead of worrying about fat, watch your overall calorie intake and get adequate exercise.
Fucking Vegan writes, "This diet is vegan, but it's basically shit. Intermittent fasting is dumb, ketogenic is dumb, and certainly not healthy. Dr. MacDougall would not approve."
Ketogenic diets are not magical. They are not superior to other diets for weight loss, but some folks just prefer them. And there's nothing inherently wrong with a vegan ketogenic diet. It's just another tool in the toolbox, so to speak.
They have been documented to improve satiety more than non-ketogenic diets,
which to me is a huge plus, especially when dieting down.
Medically speaking, and Dr. MacDougall should know this, ketogenic diets have been historically used to treat people with epilepsy as they can help control seizures.
So they are not dumb, as you would say, and in some cases are very medically viable. And the vegan version, if you listen to my answer to the previous fellow, not only helps reduce body fat, but also improves heart disease risk factors. So you should do your research before running your mouth about a diet being unhealthy or dumb or shit. As for intermittent fasting,
check out my Durian Rider response video, which I will link in the description below. I roasted him using a myriad of research papers supporting intermittent fasting for healthy hormones, longevity, fighting cancer, etc.
Way too detailed for me to want to rehash right now. As for MacDougall, I could care less what he would think.
This is a guy who, and I quote, believes that the proper diet for human beings is based on starches.
That is an overgeneralization. I hope MacDougall has since changed his tune, because just 5 years after he made that claim,
results from large-scale global research were released in the journal Nature Genetics that showed that a good number of people worldwide lack sufficient copies of a specific gene that puts them at risk of weight gain from consuming starches.
These folks would do better with fruits, for instance.
Kurt Menliff writes, "This is not a ketogenic diet. It is a low-carb diet."
One of the studies in which I based my ketogenic diet setup on
was this one, published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, which explored the effects of a ketogenic diet, and those are their words, on the strength and performance of elite athletes.
While my setup may not be a typical ketogenic 60 to 75% fat intake, instead clocking in around 55% fat intake per that JISSN study, it is certainly still a ketogenic diet. If you disagree with that sentiment, then take it up with the study authors whose paper made it through the peer review process. Anyhow, class dismissed. Now on to the point of this video. Before we hit up the day of eating, let me explain the reasoning behind this. I've mentioned time and again that I am not an advocate for straight keto dieting, not unless you need it for medical reasons. Rather, I advocate cyclic ketogenic approach, where each week you have a timed carbohydrate refeed. And this refeed serves 3 primary purposes. 1, to refill depleted glycogen stores after at least 7 days of consecutive low-carb dieting. This is especially important for folks who train with weights like myself. 2, to upregulate hormones and thyroid activity that are suppressed during dieting, which can even boost your metabolism, which is why many people report feeling hot during a carb refeed. I certainly do. 3, to provide a psychological break from the strict dieting. And this is why I don't necessarily eat clean on my refeeds either. The latter is especially important for me as 95% of the week is spent strictly dieting and sticking to a precise meal plan. So the 6 to 8 hours per week that I let loose while using a cyclic ketogenic approach can be spent enjoying myself with friends, family, or that special girl in my life. People who otherwise accept and tolerate my strictness the rest of the week, which is considered boring and too rigid by most. And hey, it works. In fact, the Saturday after I released my previous ketogenic day of eating video, I was down another 2/3 of a pound from the previous weekly weigh-in. And I am down a total of 10.5 pounds since just returning home from London. So hey, why not utilize a diet method that keeps me satiated, allows me to enjoy myself once a week, and continues to drop the pounds towards a leaner physique? And I must admit, the higher fat intake pushes my already robust sex drive into maximum overdrive, and my strength performance is benefiting as well. Best yet, it is vegan, so no harm to the animals of the planet. It's a total win in my eyes. Now, on to the day of eating. Since this was a Saturday, I had a morning fasted training session, aside from some beetroot powder and creatine and essential amino acids beforehand. I got to the gym around 10 a.m. or so, and I was out about 60 or so minutes later.
At which time I consume a soy, pea, and rice blend protein shake.
When I got home, I had my typical first meal of my meal plan. Keep in mind that I was still ketogenic at this point.
This meal, as you all saw in my last video, consists of 1 pack of Beyond Meat brand veggie strips, 250 grams of spinach, which are sauteed in 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and salted to taste. I top this dish with 2.5 tablespoons of freshly ground flax seeds.
From this point, I do not eat again until I begin my carb refeed at around 4 p.m. Now, keep in mind that during the carb refeed, I only track protein intake to ensure that I hit my daily quota. I do not track calories, nor fat or carbs. I eat when I'm hungry, but I do not stuff myself, and that is key. I stop when I'm full and eat again only when I'm hungry, and I repeat this process for 6 to 8 hours only. This is not a cheat day, nor is it a cheat meal. It lasts for a scheduled window of time once per week. Anyway, I kick off at 4 p.m. and I begin with a fat-free, high-carb snack. I always start with something high in glucose.
So candy is usually my choice, as pictured here, a selection of vegan gumdrops and sour worms.
I wash this down with a huge glass of water containing 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, and I take 500 milligrams of alpha-lipoic acid in veggie caps. For those who may be wondering, alpha-lipoic acid is an antioxidant which helps turn glucose into energy on the cellular level. Perfect supplement to take kicking off a carb load, as is creatine, to augment the benefits. Now moving along, sometime later, at least 1 or 2 hours after finishing the candy, I consumed
a full box of seasonal vegan granola covered in vanilla rice milk. Just thought I'd mention, this specific meal provided me 45 grams of protein. And with that, I sat back and enjoyed a film. I have a penchant for the horror and sci-fi genres.
Again, given some time after the granola, anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, I moved along to something a bit heavier.
Some homemade vegan sugar cookies baked into the form of cupcakes topped with a heap of vegan vanilla frosting.
But these are no ordinary sugar cookies. They have a special something in the middle.
I baked strawberry cookies into the center of them. A cookie within a cookie. Decadent as all fuck. This is similar to the vegan Oreos within chocolate chip cookie muffins I've documented how to make on this channel in 2015.
I will link that video in the description below, so go check it out. Yes, I am proudly a man who likes to bake. Finally, and after another hour or so, I moved along to my final feeding.
A big fucking bowl of pan-fried rice, veggies, and extra firm tofu, Chinese style.
I took this meal slowly, as I was pretty much topped up for the day at this point, so I took about 45 minutes to complete it. And that was it. About an hour later, I climbed into bed, marking the end of one weekly cycle and beckoning the beginning of a new one. Anyway, while I'm on the subject,
I've recently released a comprehensive step-by-step vegan ketogenic course over at the Vegan Muscle Academy. How to customize, how to utilize, and even a science-based training protocol that I find useful in conjunction with the ketogenic method.
if you're interested in that and so much more that I offer, just head over to the veganmuscleacademy.com/join-now. Feel free to drop comments below and stir up some dialogue. And if you'd like to ask me something directly, please head over to my blog at strongerfastervegan.com and drop a comment under the appropriate blog entry. I will link all of that below for your convenience. Also, like and share this video, help it find an audience, people who may benefit from it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep on top of the regular updates in my corner of YouTube. That includes the ever popular and fun weekly Q&A events held live right here. Otherwise, till next time, my friends.